Hi everybody, welcome to Crafty Aims Workshop. My name is Amy and today we are going to be making Thanksgiving napkin rings. So the first thing you're going to need is a paper towel holder or anything with the circumference of whatever you want your napkin ring to be. You're going to need polymer clay, and it can be any color that you want. If you want to make your project just one solid color, you can do that. I've seen some really cool things on that. Or you can make it the actual colors that they might be in real life, or however you want to do it. But just get some polymer clay. You're going to need something to cut your clay with. You're going to need, you're going to need some wire to wrap around for the napkin ring. You're going to need a plan for sure. Figure out what you want to make, if you want to make what I'm making or if you want to make something else. So, and then the next thing you'll need is something to roll your clay out with. I've actually got two things. I've got the acrylic rollers and then just I think it's a Play-Doh roller, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. But there's the acrylic one. You can get at Hobby Lobby or any craft store. You might need, because I'm doing something very small, you might need some tweezers of some sort. I also have some clay tools that I bought at the craft store. I have a razor blade. I have this type of razor blade. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just something to be able to cut. A ring cutter, because I'm going to make some circles. And another tool. This is a dotting tool for nails, but I just use it for my clay. It works just as good. You're going to want to use some soft pastels, the chalky type things. This you can get at any craft store. I think even Walmart might actually have some. Needle nose pliers or something to help you wrap the wire around with. Also going to need some dry paint brushes for your pastels to brush on your clay. And also at the ends I'm probably going to be putting on some diamond Flecto Varathane varnish. This is a gloss, and this just gives your item a little bit better look. Okay, so what I'm making, I don't know if you can see it, I'll be making a fall leaf, a sunflower, a pumpkin, and that's it. I was going to make a poppy, but it was just too much. So we're going to go with that. That's our plan. So what I'm going to be using is the polymer clay, and we're going to make the sunflower first. And I figured out a pretty easy way to make the sunflower over here. I've got like a mustardy yellow, and what I did is for all the colors I mixed them all with at least one of the same color. I think it was this copper. It's Premo, and they had at least a little bit of that copper in it, so they all have some kind of unity with each other, so they all look pretty good. So what I'm going to do is just cut off a piece of this. I don't need a big piece because I'm making a really small sunflower. So just roll it up to get it real nice and soft. Okay, so I've got my yellow softened up, and now I'm getting the black with a combination of the other colors, including the copper. And I'm just massaging this one, getting it to the consistency that I need. And this is going to be the middle of the sunflower. It's probably actually too much. So I'm just going to roll it in a ball. Okay. And all I'm going to do with the yellow is I'm going to form it into a snake. This was the easiest method I could figure out how to do this, because I'm going to make like 14 of these, so the easiest way to do it is the better way. Okay, and then I just wrap it around. And actually I'm going to make it a tad bit smaller. Okay, I'm just patting it down, trying to get it to where it's all sticking together. And then I'm going to take a tool. I'm using my tweezers with this, but you can use anything you've got. And I'm just making little lines. These are going to form the petals on the sunflower. Okay, then I'm going to use my nail tool, or my dotting tool, and I'm just going to use it and kind of separate where I put the line. I'm separating the petals. Now I'm just going to clean it up a little bit and go to the next step. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is just start dotting the middle, because that's where the sunflower seeds would be. So I'm trying to give it texture. Just do that a number of times. If your circle isn't a circle, this is a good time to just kind of spread it out a little bit too, if you want it to be more circly. Okay, all I did with the petals on there is I used this tool to kind of shape it and form it into the style that I wanted, until I got the shape that I wanted. And also, when you're trying to get your piece off, it's going to be sticking to the item. I've got a tile here, whatever you're going to use to do it on. And I do recommend a tile, and cook it on a tile as well. But just take something like this, or a knife if you have a knife, and or string, and just do that. That way you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to lose its shape. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to make is the leaf, the fall leaf. So we're going to use red, which was mixed with the copper. I'm just going to grab a little tiny piece of it. Okay, so I've got it to where I like it. I've got it shaped into a ball. Okay, now we're going to make the leaf. I've got my clay soft, and now I'm just going to flatten it out. And I'm going to shape it. And just take it off. It's that simple. Now the next thing I'm going to make is the pumpkin. And you don't need a whole lot for what I'm doing. And this is already soft, so we'll just go ahead and start making it. So I'm putting it in a circle. You know, make sure your hands are clean. I'm noticing I've got the colors from the other one. So in between each clay piece that you make, you need to wash your hands. So that's what I'm going to go do right now. Okay, so I've got my hands washed now. And I've got the piece of orange clay. And we're going to form this into a flat pumpkin. So I'm just flattening the clay into a circle. And then I'm going to use my dotting tool again. And I'm just going to make a little section right there, because that is going to be where we're going to put the vine on the pumpkin. And we're going to do a little bit of one here on the bottom. And then I'm going to use the really skinny side of this and draw the lines. And it's okay to pick up your piece and play with it. I mean, it's part of trying to get it the way you want it. So don't be afraid to touch it or anything like that. Get in there and do what you know needs to be done. And if you mess up, it's clay. You can start over. Roll it up again and start again. And kind of pat it so the lines are rounded. They're not, I don't want them to be rough. They don't want to be, I don't want them to be rough. But they do need to be defined and be able to see. Okay, that's good for now. Now we're going to put the stem on it. And you don't need a very big piece for this. You're going to have a piece go on the top and a piece go on the bottom. I'm going to put the piece on the bottom right now. Usually it's not visible, but I don't know, I think it adds a little bit more detail to it, so I like to do the bottom. Okay. Now we're going to do the stem on the top. I'm just rolling it, and then I'm going to try to make the bottom, where it's going to hit the pumpkin, thicker than the part on the top. And I'm just going to use my tool here. Place it closer to it. Kind of push it down a little bit and give it a little curve on the top. And what's cool to do, I mean, if you can get it to stick to your plate or your tile or whatever you're using, it makes it easy to go ahead and maneuver things and it's not going to move on you. And then I just sit here and I give that some detail. Just make some little lines on it. I'm making these a little bit deeper because when I go to put the pastel on, it's going to define it a little bit more. Now we need green. We're going to put on the leaf and the little vine that grows on it. We're going to do the vine first. Just take a little piece of green, roll it out until a teeny tiny snake, and this has got to be really thin. So make it as thin as you can. And then put it on there. And you just kind of tap it on there so that it doesn't come off. So you got a little squirrely section on there. And now we're going to make a leaf. And all you do for that is get another piece of clay, just flatten it down into like a teardrop, and then put your details on it. And then put it onto the little vine area. And then kind of keep pinching it and stuff to get it to the look that you want. And there's my pumpkin. Okay, now I need to make a platform, if you want to call it that, to put these pieces on. So I'm going to cut another piece off. This is going to be off the black with the copper and other colors mixed in. I want it to be about the size of a nickel, is I think the size that I'm going for. A little bit smaller than a nickel. And about as thick as a nickel as well. And then this is where I'm going to use my cutting tool, my round cutter, because I want it to be that, whatever that size is, I'm not even sure. And just push it down, and you got yourself a perfect circle. Now if you don't have one of these, you can use like a cap off of a bottle, or just cut it out. I mean, they're real simple. Just get yourself a razor and cut up. Actually, you could start out with drawing it out with a tool, needle tool, and then cut it out. And then just kind of tap it on the side to make sure the sides are rounded, and you're good to go on that. Okay, we're going to lay this to the side, and we're going to start shading our pieces now. So we're back to the sunflower. And I'm going to use, I'm going to try and get the shading on the sunflower to where it doesn't look like just one solid color. So I'm going to use, first I'm going to put some yellow on it, and maybe brighten it up a little bit. And it also gives it a more soft look. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my brush, rubbing it against the colors. Okay, and now I'm going to use the same brush. If you want to wipe it off, you can. I've got a little Kleenex here that I'm using. Just kind of rub it off and use like a brown or something like it, and just go in between each petal. That's all I'm doing. Alright, I think that's all I want to do with that one. I'm going to use some yellow on it to try and give it a little bit more color. Maybe use some orange. If you don't have this, you can also use paint if you so desire. I just like the look of what the pastels do for it. Is a dark brown or almost a dark brown, and I'm just going to go up where the veins are, just to give it a little bit more depth. This is why it's good to have some good drawing or deeper drawing on here. I don't think I made my drawing or my veins deep enough, so, but I think you get the idea. And now we're going to do the pumpkin. I'm just going to go through the same process with that. I'm going to use orange for that first. Just put it into the lines. Now we're going to put that to the side. We're going to take our disc that we made and we're going to arrange our pieces the way that we would like to have them on there. So I'm going to put my leaf right there. I'm going to try not to show the base there because I really don't want that seen as much. And then my sunflower. And then my pumpkin. And I'm just putting a little bit of force on there just so I know it's going to stay. Now I do have a tip for you that I've learned through the couple of years that I've been doing this, is that you want to put like a note card or something underneath your item, your product, so it doesn't burn on the bottom. And then also, where is it? You'll want to take, we can use this too. I'm just using a 5, I think it's 5x7 note card, and I'm just going to make a tint to go over it. You can use cardboard, you can use aluminum foil, but you do want to cover it, because what will happen if you don't is that the oven will burn it. So if you just kind of tint it like that, put it in your oven on a cookie sheet or some kind of sheet, and then let it cook. I think I'm going to let this cook for 10 minutes and I'll see if it'll be ready. Okay, so while you're waiting for your project to dry, this is a really good time to clean your mess up. So I clean all of my tools with some Clorox disinfecting wipes or any type of wipe. You can, you know, soap and water, I don't care. But always try to keep your pieces, your tools, clean. because they'll work better if you take care of them. And be careful with these blades. They probably will rust on you, so make sure they're drying. And there's our pieces. Let's go check it. Okay, and another tip I have while we're waiting for that to cool down is polymer clay doesn't get hard, at least for a long time. Even if you left it out, it stays pretty pliable. But it can get dusty, and you don't want dust on your clay. So what I do is I buy these little teeny tiny bags that you can get to sell jewelry, or just to package little tiny things up with, and I just place my piece of clay in there, make sure it's dry, or make sure it's cleaned off. Sometimes it'll get dirty from other clay. And just throw it down in these little bags. And the reason I use the little ones, sometimes I'll use a little bit bigger than this, but most of the time after I'm done with the project, I only have these little tiny pieces left, so I can't put it back in the Premo package, or the package that I'm using, because it's all ripped up. It's hard to keep them in good shape. So sometimes I'll continue to wrap it up if I'm able to, and then put it in a little bag, but I always try to cover it up in a bag or plastic or something. It's just neater when you use more tidy when you use a little bag. And then I just zip her up and tape it and put it away. Okay, and here it is so far. That's after it's been cooked or baked in the oven, which, by the way, you can use your regular oven or your toaster oven, whatever you've got. It's better to, I've done both. It's probably better to do an oven just for this, but I haven't had any problems with using my regular oven when I need to for bigger projects. So, but anyways, so this is pretty much done for the moment. Now we've got to create the band that we're going to put around the napkin and connect this to it. So that's the next step. Okay, so go ahead and get your toilet paper holder or your paper towel holder, or whatever item you're using to measure this out with. Grab your wire, and you're going to roll it around or wrap it around as many times as you wish. I think I'm going to do 4 times. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the extra here. So, and then it's going to be put together like that. And it's in the form that I want, so we're just going to slide it off. And just hold it so it doesn't lose shape. And by the way, this is a 20 gauge wire, so you might want to use a thicker wire. This is what I had. Okay, so I'm just going to clip the wire with my needle nose pliers. I'm going to take the 2 ends and start wrapping them around. And you want to be sure that the ends are not poking up to where they're going to scratch someone. So try to poke it up in through the other wires. Okay. If you want, you could wrap it all the way around if you want, but I think I'm just going to leave mine like this, and I'm going to separate the wires a little bit. And it'll sit up like that. And so now I'm going to attach the decoration I have onto it. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take another piece of that clay, make another circle, which I've already done, put it underneath where you want it. Okay. And okay, I use something called Bacon Bond, and it's like a glue for the clay. So all you do is you put a little bit on the clay, and it's kind of like, I think it's just, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's just clay that's been liquefied, but I don't know. But anyways, we're going to spread a little bit on there. I'm just going to spread it around. And you don't need a whole lot, just enough to get it to stick. And then take your piece again. Just make sure everything matches up on the back. And you'll see how it's on there. Okay, and then just put that in your oven. And yes, polymer clay can be baked more than once. I don't think it'll hurt it. Put it in there, and then as soon as it comes out of the oven, I'll show you again. And then we'll glaze it. I just wanted to show you all something too. Before you start baking it, make sure you put it on a form, or I'm like, this is aluminum foil. I just crunched it up and then laid this on there, because if you don't, when it gets warm as it's baking, it's going to move. So you need to put it on something to where it'll keep its shape. So that's one other tip too. Okay, now we are going to go ahead and glaze the napkin ring, and I'm going to again use the Diamond Flecto Varathane varnish, and this is the gloss. Just need a little teeny tiny dab. Get my brush and then just dip it in there. Brush it on. I think it not only makes it glossy, but it might actually give it more stability as well. I did notice when I took this out of the oven that I must have pushed on that stalk right there on the pumpkin, so it cracked it. So I went ahead and put some crazy glue on it to glue it back together, and now it's just as good as new. So if you guys ever have a problem like that where it's kind of cracked or whatever, you can do one of two things. You can use crazy glue, or you can try to put it back in the oven using the Bacon Bond. And just keep in mind, the Bacon Bond will have a color, like a foggy color to it. So I have done that before, and I've had to paint over it as close a color as I could to the clay, and it worked out. But I mean, you have to be real careful. So probably best to just use a very clear glue if you can. Alright, And I go ahead and I gloss all over it. And then I let it dry. I think, it doesn't say on this, I think it's something like a day. You need to let it dry for at least a day, maybe more. I mean, it's good to the touch after a few hours, possibly. But it's best just to let it completely cure before you start messing with it. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've got about 13 more to go of these. And hopefully they will be sitting around on my Thanksgiving dinner table. If you guys like this video, please subscribe, please like the video, and then please comment down below if there's any questions that you may have or suggestions on videos you'd like to see, or anything. I mean, I would love to hear from any of you, even if you just said hello, that would be great. Have some crafty happiness. Bye.